No major changes with major Hurricane Florence as it continues to churn off towards the west-northwest, making an impact in the Carolinas here in the next couple days. Infrared satellite imagery continues to show a very nice structure post-sunset. We will see an eye wall replacement cycle most likely, but that eye wall was looking very nice as we went into the evening hours today. Still 140 mile per hour winds and pressure down to 945 millibars with this major storm. Of course, hurricane warnings and watches are out. Evacuations well underway across the Carolinas. Nothing really new there. We have people getting out of Dodge. It's going to be a serious situation, of course, for the coast. We're packing the wind threat. We're packing the storm surge threat. And of course, we are packing the very heavy flooding rain threat as well. And we're not super sure on exactly where that flooding rain is going to end up, how far inland, because the storm is going to kind of stall. As we show you here now, you can see the track continues to bring it on into the Carolinas. Late Thursday, it'll start being more impactful for sure, and then really stalling out once it begins to move inland as we go into the day on Friday. Where's exactly it's going to go is the question. You can see that cone really expand there, so a wider area of possibility for Florence. The damaging winds in terms of tropical storm force or hurricane force winds you can see are going to impact the southern half of North Carolina, especially the central portion of North Carolina, and the coastline is really going to feel the brunt of this, of course, as it stalls out and gets impacted for even longer than a normal hurricane that's just going to be moving through. Let's show you on that future cast where Florence is going to go, exactly what it's going to look like. Really nice spin dynamics on our simulated future cast. The radar of what this storm will look like. Absolute eye wall in there. Very impressive to look at, that's for sure. Wilmington, North Carolina, still the likely spot. Greenville seeing some impacts. Charleston, South Carolina. We'll see a little rain, a little wind, but nothing like much of North Carolina. It's just a very, very powerful flooding situation right there with that torrential rain coming down and that storm just continuing to wrap its way in. So we don't really know exactly once it makes landfall if it's going to just sit and spin in one spot or if it's going to meander a little bit. These are our spaghetti plots. Look kind of like spaghetti, right? So different computer models that are projecting the path of where it's going to go. And you could see very good agreement to a certain point, and then they split off. And are they going to just sit and spin for a while? Is it going to move down into Georgia, Tennessee? Is it going to head up towards the Mid-Atlantic? Not set in stone yet. And the reason I can't give you a good definitive idea of what's going to happen is because of the upper level weather pattern. Notice how everything is in red. So that's an area of relatively high pressure. Florence, pretty easy to see there in the low pressure area across the Carolinas. So we have an area of high pressure out towards the Atlantic Ocean. We have an area of high pressure back towards the middle of the country from the Ohio Valley through the Midwest into the mid-Mississippi Valley as well. That's going to create a blocking pattern. So where's Florence going to go? It's kind of trapped in between these highs. Think of it as a boat in still water, if you will. The atmosphere is a fluid. So if you drop a boat, like a little toy boat in still water, you can't discernibly see any kind of current or flow. You don't know exactly where that's going to flow to. Similar dynamics here at work with this storm as well. What we do know is once it makes landfall, it is going to weaken pretty substantially. We'll see that downgrading effect as it goes from a major Category 4 hurricane through 2 to 1, and then eventually a tropical storm for the end cycle of its life. It might hang in Category 1 territory there for a little while. But again, one of the main threats that will be talked about likely for days is going to be this significant wall of water moving inland. Areas of 10, 20 inches of rain might be very common, and spots that could see even 30 inches or more. Maybe a similar situation in spots to Hurricane Harvey last year. We'll have to see on that. But with all this purple color there, that spot's just seeing an obscene amount of rain. Over 20 inches over a pretty good portion of the area across northern portions of South Carolina, a great chunk of North Carolina, and maybe spreading westward into eastern Tennessee with some heavy totals, also up through the mid-Atlantic states, Maryland, Delaware, and of course Virginia as well. So we'll be keeping you updated on all these different updates and details with the storm as it gets closer. Thank you for watching, and make sure to stay tuned to NeoWeather.
you.